Hey guys, welcome back to Man Time. Today's docket for spring maintenance is going to be the Weedeater. We've got a Honda 25 straight shaft Weedeater. I was going to run it and then realized I needed to go through some maintenance on it. Opened up the carburetor for the filter and the filter was disintegrated. Unfortunately, there was no replacement filter at the lawn and garden store. So I'm going to go ahead and make one out of just some regular filter material I bought. So, let's jump into it. Okay, so here is how you get to your air filter. This is a Honda GX25. It's a 4-stroke Weedeater. It is a regular gas. And there is a latch right here that you pull off the inspection cover for the air filter. And it connects on right here to the bottom, slides in there, rotates up, and then clips in on the top. So the air filter would normally sit in this area. I've got it off here. It is, again, just falling apart. When I took that off, it kind of came in half. So I guess it's been on there too long, and over the winter time it decided to crap out. But I've got some new filter material, just a random chunk that they had at the store. So I'm going to cut it to the general size here, cut the hole out of it, and just make a temporary filter to get me through the day. And then I've got one ordered also. So let's see here, we're here, here, and we're right here. It looks like it's right down the middle too, so that's good. I'm going to trim off the edges here. See how we landed. Pat that away. Good there. A little excess here. Cut off the corner this way. So there's a way to line it up. Cut off the corner here. There we go, just like that. Okay, so this is where my holes are going to be. On this side, got one here. One here. One down over here. Again, I'm not trying to be real precise here, as it doesn't matter too much as long as I get the hole through the center and in the right general area. Wind's kicking up here. So I'm just kind of following where I think the filter hole needs to go. And come down this way, along here. Along here, so down, across here, and thicker there. Alright, It's a little thick, but I think it's going to work. Alright gang, next thing we're doing on the Man Time Ranch here is putting a new hook on the front loader of the Ford 555. You can see here the hook is damaged and thoroughly used, opened up and stressed. We got a new hook. I'm going to go ahead and weld onto the front of that. We've also got another hook here. And what I'm going to be doing with that one is welding it onto my 3-point post hole digger, and that way I can hang it so it's a little bit more easily hooked up to a 3-point tractor attachment. Let's get started. Okay, so here's my 3-point post hole digger, and as you can see it's nearly impossible to hook up in its current state, and I'm really surprised that they haven't come up with a better way to hold these things so you can actually hook them up to your 3-point. I haven't used this. I bought it used. It looks like an old maybe Ford Industrial or German made. It's got a big heavy-duty cast iron differential on it there, and it's got that trademark industrial equipment yellow. But I'm going to be welding on a hook to the end of it here. And I've got the hook here. I'm going to weld this on somewheres in this region here. Like that. Thereabouts. So I've got to grind off and make some flats on the end of this. And then that will hang on this, it's going to hang on this little A-frame here. And I've got a chain hanging down from that, so what I'd like to be able to do is when I'm done using it, come up to that and just hook it up to that chain, unhook the 3-point, and let it sit. So then I'll be doing probably a little bit of maintenance on the 555 here. Not really much to do to it. It's got a new short block engine in it, and it runs like a top. I've gone through it. It's got a true clutch. It's got these big tractor tires, so it's a true manual transmission, none of the hydrostatic shifting stuff. Bucket's in really good shape. Been replacing out hoses on this thing left and right. Oops, somebody's sneaking. Who's sneaking behind there? Who's sneaking? Yep, there she is. You helping? You helping be a good girl? Okay. You can see there, this thing probably wasn't real safe, as it's a little bit crooked. So I'm going to change discs on the grinder, get that cleaned up. Alright, next thing I'm going to be working on is cleaning up the hooks and getting those ready to weld on to both the post hole digger and the bucket on the front end loader. Alright, I've got our hooks pretty well ready to go. Next thing I'm going to do, this thing has got something a little off on it here. And let's see if you can spot it. What is wrong with this picture? Besides the cameraman. It's that big bolt going through there. As you can see, looks like they've tried to safety wire it on there, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off, punch it out, and get the auger bit off of there. That'll make it a little bit more manageable to work with to get my hook welded on there. And also I'm going to go back with a better pin to connect that auger bit. It's a little bit more safe than that. Since I've got the grinder hooked up here, I'm going to go ahead and make a new punch using this railroad spike. I had a bunch of these laying around the property. They work good for all kinds of stuff. For this one, I'm just going to grind it down, use it as a punch to get that bolt out, since I don't really want to mess up any of my good punches, and this thing is going to be a real bugger. There we have it. Alright, so here is the makeshift pin that was holding the auger bit onto the pumpkin or differential here. It's threaded. I tried to back it out by twisting it, but it's bent inside of there. So I'm going to try my new railroad spike punch and see if I can get it out that way. Alright, looks like we're at the maximum depth of our punch. So, I'm going to grab another punch now that I got it moving. Alright, next up, and there we go. See why it was being a little bit of a bugger to come out of there. And the hardest part was getting past this first bend, and that's why I went ahead and made that new punch, so I didn't mess up my good one here. the parts that I need welded up in the bucket here, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and use the stick welder to weld them up. I've been trying to stick weld more. I was taught how to weld with a MIG welder, so I've got this new Miller diesel-powered trailer standalone unit, and I've been trying to practice with that and get a little bit better. So just kind of honing different kinds of man skills, I guess you could say. So let's get them welded up. Alright, so I'm going to get started welding on this. I've got a welder buddy, and he said that 7018 is really the best stuff to use for this. So I've got some 7018, picked up a nice canister, waterproof, to hold it in as well. And I went with the 1/8 inch. I really don't like using small rod. Maybe it's just me. But anyways, here we go. I'll grab a couple sticks. 7018. I've got the stuff set up right over here. I've got my area good and cleaned on the bucket where I'm going to be welding the hook on, and I've also got it cleaned on the pumpkin. I've got the hooks ground, got my rod, gloves, slag hammer, helmet, and I'm going to fire up the welder and get going. Well, I don't know if it's the welder or if it's me, but those were some stunningly bad welds. I had to... My biggest problem was trying to determine where the metal puddle was versus the slag in the puddle with the 7018. This is the first time I've used it. Normally I just use 6011, smear it on there, and you're good to go. This 7018 was a little difficult, definitely more difficult, because I couldn't determine where the metal and where the slag was forming at. So, it's horrible. I'm not going to show you the pictures of that. Save me a little embarrassment. But, they're together. I think it's structural. We're going to run with it. Alright, gotta make a pin, hold the auger bit on, let's make one. Alright, we're in the workshop here. My battery died, so didn't record anything there, but what I'm doing on the lathe here is making that through pin that'll hold the auger bit on. Got my freshen air keeping me cool. Hope that doesn't screw up the sound too bad, but man, that feels good. Alright, here's what we got so far. I had it between centers, and I was in there making, and now I'm making threads on it. It's got a shoulder on the end of it. Should fit in there pretty nice. I'm making the threads to a 7/16 20. And I just measured the tap that I had, and hopefully that'll measure up. Focus here. There we go. 7/16 20. Nice shoulder on the back of it here. Now I'm going to cut it off. About a 1/4 inch left of the raw steel there. 4130 3/4 sucker rod, 5/8. Yeah, 3/4 inch sucker rod, I believe. Okay, so here is the end of the auger bit, and here is the fresh pin that I made. See, it fits right in there. And the threads are just coming through there. I'm going to put a locking nut on there. We should be good to go. Alright folks, I got my nut made. I put a couple flats on it there so you can get a crescent wrench on it on one side, 7/8 20 on the other. So I'm just going to have to hold off to run it until I can stop by the hardware store tomorrow after work. But let's get it put together, see if the pin is going to work out, and the new stand. Alright, so there we have it. The pin looks like it is going to work. Fits in there really snug. That's the nice thing about making stuff on the lathe and having the tools to make stuff like this. You can make it just right and you know it's going to work because you've taken measurements and you've made it exactly to fit. And I got the slots on there. So I can put a crescent wrench on it and tighten it down with a locking nut. Alright, that's it for today. Hope you've enjoyed Man Time. Hope I've inspired you to maybe get out there and have your own Man Time. See you next time.